Going on, family? You're tuned in to Real Last Real Radio 104.1, your nightcap of comedy. My name is Ken Miller, aka Baby Idris Elba, in the big chair tonight. James is out because he's on the road, and Miguel is never here. So join the virtual studio with my co-host Patricio, aka Rocky, aka the Podfather of Orlando. And we got a special guest kicking it with us, my comedy nephew. Y'all put your hands together and show your love for AJ Wilkerson, everybody.
Woo!
Hey,
What's
Jay.
up, man?
Look at
Uncle
you.
Ken, dude.
What's up, nephew? Man, I'm so proud of you, dude. I don't think people understand your journey or what you've been on. So for the next 14 minutes, we're gonna let them know about you, man. We always start everything off the same way when we have comedians on the show. We are all comic book fans. We have to know the origin story. How long have you been doing comedy? When did you start? And how was your first ever show?
So I actually started in 2019 after I had gotten diagnosed as autistic and started working with an occupational therapist. Got my medical marijuana card, and about a month after that, like working with that occupational therapist, she basically challenged me to go to an open mic because she said that like I needed a creative outlet, and she kind of sent me as like a therapy exercise, and I got like addicted to it because my first like open mic ever, I did a 3-minute set. It was horrible, but I got like 2 laughs, and that was all I needed.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. So you didn't get diagnosed until you were how old?
I was 30. I got
30?
diagnosed. Yeah.
Now during your life, you didn't think that like people didn't see anything? Because you understand, I'm 46, and when I was a kid, I don't think autism was, as known as it is now. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like as I was a kid, if somebody was autistic, I remember a kid in my class that I now assume was autistic when he was younger, and people just thought, he was slow. So you're 30 years old and you're just getting a diagnosis. How did that come about, if you don't mind us asking?
So I took 30 years to get the autism diagnosis, and then last year I also got the ADHD diagnosis. So I have both. So
Wow.
my whole life I wasn't the slow kid. I was always either the quiet kid or the kid that was like running circles around the room. Like there was no real in between. So my parents, like, again, same thing, like I grew up in a really small, really rural area in the 90s where people already didn't know what autism was and then didn't have the resources to do anything like that. So there, it was one of those like, he's just a little quiet,
Yeah.
um so yeah, there was no real diagnosis for stuff like that. My parents just knew like I was a real awkward kid. So they put me in like every sport you could imagine. Like my dad coached everything. My mom like started coaching like softball and cheerleading and stuff with my sister. And then they decided to do foster care. So started bringing additional kids into the house. So I was like just getting like forced like social training.
They were just trying everything they could, weren't they?
Yeah. They're like, we got to make this kid some friends. Let's adopt some.
So now that you're 30, how does those two diagnoses play into your comedy?
Um, I think so. I talk about it a little bit like in my like stand up, but autism is kind of like just a difference in operating systems. You know what I mean? So like if you use like a Windows computer and somebody sends you something like a PowerPoint they made on an Apple computer, when you open it up, like that formatting's not right. You know what I mean? Like that there's some sort of like there's a miscommunication, like or like something gets lost in translation between those two systems, and that's kind of what autism is like. It's like I can run like and do like most of the same things as everyone else, but I'm doing it through like a different program. And so sometimes when I try to like exchange information, something gets lost in translation.
Oh, okay. Now you have Parkinson's, correct, as well, right?
No.
You don't? Then why you
No,
always shaking?
why do I shake like Michael J. Fox?
Yeah.
it's
I'm sorry, I don't put something back. I ain't
Take
mean
us
put
back
that
to
on
the
you.
future and explain that, nephew.
Because I remember when I first met you, and you were like, "I'll take the picture for you." I was like, "No, the picture gonna be blurry," and it was always a perfect picture. I was like, "Yo, he faking."
No, so it's stimming. It's part of autism. So it's like when my brain gets too worked up. Think about it like since we were talking about like operating systems on like computers, think about it like the fan on your computer. Right? Like what if the internal mechanisms are running like too fast and it gets overheated, that fan will kick on to like expel some of that heat and relieve pressure on the internal systems. And that's kind of how stimming works. Right? Like when
I'm learning
I'm the
so much
most
on this episode.
yeah, like if I it happens when I get overstimulated, right? Like when there gets to be too many people or too many noises around me, like there's too much going on. So like there's too much my brain is trying to process at one time and it starts heating up.
Well, that's okay. First of all, we have AJ Wilkerson on with us. He was the Orlando Improv June 27th, a Tuesday, which shows you how famous he is to get a Tuesday night because we're normally closed on Tuesday. So this is how you know how famous he is. So you're saying the noise gets to you. How does that not affect you in comedy? Because it's noise.
It is noise, but it's all one type of noise. If that
Oh,
makes sense. Like
that makes sense.
it's all laughter. It all falls under like one category. If that makes sense. Like it's worse like when there's multiple like like if you're ever sitting in a bar or restaurant and you can hear like the conversation going on at the
Yeah,
table next to you, but also the conversation behind you and you're trying to have a conversation. And so it's like the more like cacophonous noise. Like with laughter, it's kind of like listening to the waves, right? You know what I mean? Like it's ocean sounds. It's if you're doing it well, like that laughter is kind of rolling in towards you and there's a rhythm to it. So it's not completely like unregulated sound, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. I was curious because I'm like,
In a way, it's like
that's
music. In a way,
okay.
it's like music.
Yeah, because I was gonna say when you made that statement, like I've been following your career for like going on 2 years now. If it wasn't for Salty Aaron, I never would have met you. And like because like our office did a comedy show a few like about 2 years ago, and AJ won it. And I gotta say one thing: if you've never had a chance to see him live, prepare yourself, stretch out your cheeks, stretch out your abs, because you are gonna be dying of laughter. Because that day, dude,
He's
honestly,
very funny, very funny.
I had never laughed so hard inside a public place than I did that night I first saw your set.
Dude, I appreciate that a lot. I made me uncomfortable that you said stretch your cheeks out like as you were complimenting me, but I was like, dang, he said I can't cuss, but he could say that on the radio.
Yeah, you can stretch cheeks, man. AJ Wilkerson, June 27th, the Orlando Improv. I love when I have it's just me and Patricia. Patricia say something like, I've been following your career for like 2 years. He only been doing this for 2 years. So
It's been longer than that. Damn.
hey man, I met you when you was in the van, living in the van. Are you still living in the van down by the pond?
I am not. I had two different vans. You met me when I still had the first van. Like
Yeah.
I was still I had that piece of garbage blue van.
The blue van.
Yeah, the blue van, the transmission blew up on, so I parked it and I held on to it for like another year after that, but I got rid of it finally. And then I had a bigger van, like a one of those like 90s like camper vans that were like pre-built onto like the like E350s or whatever.
Yeah. They had like red velvet inside, you know what I mean? Had the
Like
boom room.
like the opening scene of X-Men and Wolverine.
No. Like the bigger ones. Like the ones that look almost like that flying Winnebago from
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, exactly. But that one, the gas was just too bad, and it got like 7 miles a gallon.
Ooh.
You know, good luck trying to like push that if it runs out of gas.
Oh yeah.
But if I may, AJ, dude, like I said, I've been following you for a while now, and I've seen your growth on TikTok. Because I remember when you were in the low thousands, and right now you're well over 500,000 followers on TikTok. Well, for you from your perspective, like which one was the one that like broke it for you?
There was never like really one thing that broke it. Like that was like the cool part, was kind of like figuring out how social media and like algorithms and all that kind of stuff works. One of the first ones that like got me traction, I think, was somebody being negative. It was like that woman that was yelling at me at the open mic in Orlando because I was hosting, and so I had like done some jokes about autism, like in the front part, and she just wasn't paying attention. So she just heard me tell like the fourth joke about autism and was like, "Hey, you can't say that," and I was like, "I am that." And she did not. She did not like it.
That's funny,
But that one, like, I started getting like a little bit, and then I went from like I think 4,000, 5,000 followers. Like that one took off, and I jumped up to like 23,000, and then like at another video jump off that like sent me from 23 up to like 75,000, and then 75 to like I don't know, like 220 something. And so it was just like I would get a little bit of momentum, and then I would just keep posting to try and like ride that momentum. And then once that really like tapered off, then eventually like another big one would pop off. So it was almost like watching a heartbeat monitor.
Oh wow!
So just every once in a while you'd hit that peak that would just kind of level you up to the next section.
That's nice, man. AJ Wilkerson, June 27th, the Orlando Improv. Make sure you get your tickets. Like I said, it is a Tuesday. And you know this man has to be famous if we open our doors and cut the lights on a Tuesday. Hey, man, give me the worst show you've ever done. Like, think about what was one of the worst shows you've ever done that you, like, to this day, you still talk about.
Oh man, it's the show I like the first time I met in person, comedian, buddy of mine, Chris Harvey. It was in Atlanta, but it was in the venue was called like the Miami Lounge or something. But it was like a black room, and it was like my first real like black comedy room, and I was still very early in, but I had just won that thing with Jason Mewes, and Jay had started was gonna start bringing me on the road. And when I first met Chris Harvey at that show, we got to talking, and he had opened for Jay at the St. Louis Funny Bone, like literally the 3 nights before I opened for Jay, and Jay was like, "Yo, come on the road with me." And Jay had mentioned to him that they might bring him on the road with me. So like when we first started talking about it, I was like, "Oh, he thinks I took his job. He's gonna hate me, dude." But like he didn't. He like gave me really good advice. Like immediately became like a comedy big brother for me. Like we're still boys to this day. But we had that whole conversation. Like I'm feeling like a real like professional comedian. You know, I was like, "Oh, this guy takes me serious." And then I went into this room like featuring for him and just ate shit for like 22 minutes. And I still talk about it because that was like before I learned really how to like read rooms and like kind of alter my material in different places. And it was one of those things like in like any normal room, I can go up and just start with like a regular joke, and then a couple minutes in I can get to the autism stuff. And in that room, I could not do that.
Yeah.
As soon as I got up there, there's like, what's wrong with him?
Hey man.
And I did not tell them quick enough.
Real quick, June 27th, the Orlando Improv, AJ Wilkerson on a Tuesday. AJ, we gotta take a commercial break. You want to kick it with us for one more segment?
Yeah, I'll kick it with you guys a little bit more.
Okay, cool, man. We be right back. Real Labs, Real Radio 104.1. Back, Real Labs, Real Radio 104.1, your nightcap of comedy. Guys, do me a favor. Go out there and go to YouTube and please subscribe to our channel. All the videos are uploaded so you can see these beautiful ass faces. If you miss any of our shows, go to iHeart, search Real Labs, and you can listen to us in podcast format. Make sure you go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And send us messages, comment, and all that, and we always reply back. We love it. And thank you guys who've been coming to the shows, telling us that you listen to Real Labs. And if you also get a chance, go vote for Real Labs for Best Radio Show. Vote for Patricio for Best Podcast and Best Voice of Orlando. And
Best Local Big Shot.
Best Local Big Shot. That's something they just made up for Patricio. Also, vote for the Orlando Improv Best Comedy Club. Vote for the Other Bar Best Comedy Night. And vote for Ken Miller, a.k.a. Baby Idris Elba, Best Orlando Comedian. We appreciate that. Join the virtual studio with AJ Wilkerson, who will be at the Orlando Improv June 27th on a Tuesday, which shows you how famous this young man has got in his 3 to 4 years of doing stand-up. And I'm super happy for him. He goes by Captain Autism, the superhero. What made you come up with that one?
I didn't come up with it. Another comic buddy of mine, Chris Cope, came up with it.
I love Cope, man. Shout out to Chris Cope.
Chris Cope is the best, dude. We have the same comedy dad, Bob Smith. Also, shout out
Bob
Smith.
Yeah. It was such a regular ass name.
Yeah, dude. I swear he is in some sort of like comedy witness protection.
Yeah, this dude just like when he hit me up, he was like, "Yo, I'm Bob Smith. I'm looking at the book." I'm like, "Is this?" I say, "Is this Joe Sensabella trolling me?" like, what's going on, man? He's like, "No, that's really my name, right?" And I'm like, "All right, man, you need a stage name." Because Bob Smith is the most simplest name in stand-up comedy ever, bro. Just Bob Smith, man.
Bob Smith sounds like the guy who drives an F-150 and goes to Ace Hardware at 7:30 every morning just
as soon
to
as it
walk
opens.
around. Yeah, just to walk around.
And I love
Bob Smith
Autism,
is on a
man.
first name basis with every gas station attendant.
Yeah, and he in Gainesville.
They know how he likes his coffee. You know what I mean? They're like, "Hey, Bob."
Yeah, he likes his coffee like he like the people that work around his house black. So how was it, man, working with Jason Mewes? How that seems like it had to be a dope experience because I know him from the movies. I don't know his stand-up that well. So how was it working with him?
Dude, it was actually really cool. And like, because Jay will be like the first one to tell you this. Like when we first met, we had basically like he had started doing like actual stand-up the beginning of that year. Like he started stand-up basically like right before COVID started was when he was first trying to start stand-up, and then lockdown started. And so he was doing like, when we first met, he was doing like hybrid shows still. Like it was like half like storytelling Q&A and then like half stand-up. So when we first like started working together, that was his big thing. Like he was like, "You are so funny that like when people come to the shows, if I suck still, they're not going to be upset at me." He was like, "They still get like the value of the ticket." You know what I mean? And
now
so,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go. Sorry.
Oh, but like when I started like traveling with him, that was like our big thing, was like he was so like into learning how like the nuts and bolts and like the structure of like stand-up works, because he's been in live entertainment for so long. He's like, I've been telling jokes and stories like for decades, but I didn't know how to actually like move it from this to this. So we started talking about that, and like it's cool like seeing him kind of become a comedy nerd.
That's cool. That's dope.
Now, watching your TikToks, if you don't follow AJ on TikTok, go to TikTok and type in Captain Autism Comedy. You're gonna have a sample of all his comedy that he does throughout the U.S. But
also maybe a couple sad videos, but just skip those, dude.
the one that stood out to me actually relates to the story you're telling right now in regards to Jason Mewes, because it's like when you recorded that audio, like, did you just have your microphone on, or like how did that clip come to be?
So when I do stand up, because like the camera is normally in the back of the room, and like different like club audio setups, like you always get like weird audio and echoes and stuff. So I wear my Apple Watch in airplane mode, and I record like a voice memo from like right there in my microphone hand. So I had put the mic back in the stand and had walked off stage back into the green room. And as soon as I came through the door, like normally I would have stopped my recorder, but there was somebody right there waiting for me. So the conversation just kind of like started from there. And then like an hour later, I realized my microphone was still recording.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Now, did you actually
so I was
tell
like,
Jason?
I got him.
As I was going to say, because like you were wearing a wire at that time of the conversation that you had with Jason. Like, did you tell him afterwards, or just like, yo, can I was recording you. Can I use this for me?
I mean, I wouldn't say it like I was wearing a wire. I still want to be Ken's nephew after this.
Right, baby. You know what's up.
Yeah.
You know what's up. June 27th, Orlando Improv. It is a Tuesday, so please make sure you go out there and get your tickets to go see my nephew, AJ Wilkerson. All right, we talk about the worst show ever. Favorite show you've ever done. What was one of them shows that you all I tell people I have an out-of-body experience. When I'm on stage and I'm killing, my soul steps out and looks at me as like, man, you pretty funny, kid. What was one of those shows for you that it was just so good for you?
Man, I've had a couple of them. Like the first time I ever featured at the Orlando Improv, I was with Jay. The first night I had featured for him at the ever after I won that contest was at the Tampa Improv the night before. And the Tampa Improv is in that old stage play theater,
Yeah,
and it's got
yeah.
3 stories high ceilings, so the sound from the crowd just comes out and up, and it doesn't really make it all the way to you on the stage. So my first time ever featuring for this guy that was bringing me on the road with him, I thought I was bombing the whole set. And then I get to the end, my name's AJ Wilkerson, thank you. And everybody just starts standing up. And I was like, what is happening? I thought, there was a split second, I thought I had walked the whole room. I was like, this has never been done before. This is some kind of record. This is like hitting the pace car in Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
I've done something perfect. But no, it just blew my mind. So then the next night at the Orlando Improv, I had that boost of confidence from the night before that I was like, I'm just gonna let it rip. And then got another standing ovation. But I actually got to feel and enjoy this one the whole time. So that one will always be special to me.
Yeah, improv is an amazing room. It's always good. And speaking of the improv, you're going to be there June 27th.
June 27th.
June 27th. So make sure you go get your tickets. We gotta talk. We gotta talk current events, and it's all over social medias everywhere. What do you feel about the submarine?
First of all, as someone with a brain condition, I completely understand the desperate need to get that far away from other people. That's first and foremost. But outside of that, come on, all of those billionaires and nobody owned a PS5. Nobody questioned that controller. Nobody did. And Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's a rip-off GameStop brand controller. It wasn't even like a legitimate PlayStation or Xbox. It was a GameStop controller. What
Dude,
the
it was
hell?
like a GameStop GameCube controller. It wasn't even from. It didn't look like it was from a console from this decade.
Yeah.
It was from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
the Atari, just one button. Just one, but it's funny, man, because I got in on the comedy / serious portion of it, because on one hand I do feel bad, you know what I mean, like somebody lost their life, 5 people lost their life, but on the other side, ain't no way I'm going down, like that, and I can swim. I know a lot of black people we gonna do it because we can't swim. I actually can swim.
Wow.
I'm not getting in the tube and going to see the Titanic. I don't even like the movie Titanic. So I don't even want to see the wreckage of it, man. So yeah. And the reason I brought that up to you, AJ, is because you are an influencer now, whether you want to be or not, and people are going to come at you when you comment on certain things like that. So how have you dealt with people who come at you sideways for your videos, who come at you sideways in the comments, who come out at you sideways with something you post? And that was my segue into that question.
It varies from time to time. Sometimes you can when people will leave a mean comment or something nasty, and it's like, okay, it's not, I'm not gonna let it affect me today. Like too much good stuff, and then other days you're just like, you know what, I've been having a bad day and I have time right now. So it depends on that, but it depends like in a weird way. Like I'm less upset if somebody says something like to me. I get more upset when like my fans will like start like talking to the like responding to those negative comments, and then those people will start like being negative to my fans. Like, don't come for my fans, bro, just come for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
keep it at me, because I know I can take it, and I also know I can dish it out. Like you don't have to like these are people who just like me and are like trying to say positive things, and
That-
so that's one of the ones that like really irritates me. If you come after like other people like in my comments, I'll probably say something to you. But normally it's either a block, or I like to give them that I like to like put them on that restriction on Instagram. It's like haha, now you can just watch, hater.
I didn't know you could do a restriction. I don't. Usually when I get bad comments, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make you laugh today," or "Hey man, I get you next time," or "God bless you." I get away. I never forget, man. This is true. And Patricia, I know you got a question. Somebody had posted. I had just won Steve Harvey, and a lady posted that I don't think he's funny. Why did he win? And I clicked on her profile and I went to her pictures, and there's a picture of me and her. So
Oh.
I'm like, I hit her up. I'm like, hey, you saw me at blah blah club and said I was funny,
Damn, you
but
deep
now I'm
dove.
not funny to you. And she looked and she realized who it was. It was me. And she sent me a message with like, oh, I'm so sorry. My friend entered the contest and didn't win, and I was mad.
So she lied.
It's like, be mad at your unfunny friend. Don't be mad at me.
Yeah. So that's usually how I do. Patricia, you was about to say something. What you got? We got about a minute.
As we're wrapping up, one of my favorite videos from you is you going on stage with Bert Kreischer. And dude, like what like as quick as you can, like the feeling that you felt, like thousands and thousands of people just like losing their minds, you going on stage.
That was unreal, and I wasn't expecting or prepared for that moment. Like that was on that week of shows I did with him, that was like the big like like arena, so that was 12,000 people. We had already, the show was over. That was the end of Bert's set. And like I was backstage like talking with one of the other comics, Dave Williamson. I love
Another friend of mine, another good friend of mine. That boy can barbecue.
Dude, I'll put his meat in my mouth any day.
Yeah,
any day, dude.
Hey, let's pause that because we got to go to commercial. We got one more segment. You want to stick around 14 more minutes?
I got you.
Let's do this. We got to take a commercial break. Don't forget, June 27th, my nephew, AJ Wilkerson, will be at the Orlando Improv. When we come back, we're going to talk about Bert Kreischer. We're going to talk about him putting meat in his mouth. And we're going to talk about performing in front of 12,000 people because I've been there, and I want to know how his experience was compared to what mine was. We'll be right back.
And we got to talk about that submarine billionaire's stepson.
Oh, and we got to talk about the stepson who was out here only fanning it. So we'll be right back. Real Labs, Real Radio 104.1. We are back, Real Labs, Real Radio 104.1, your nightcap of comedy. Guys, do me a favor. Go out there and follow us, Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter. If you have a second, go to YouTube. Please subscribe. And then go to iHeart, search Real Labs. And all of our shows are up, and you can watch them. And listen to them in podcast format. James is out. He's on the road. Miguel is at the Sausage Castle working. Join the virtual studio with the Podfather Patricio. I am Ken Miller, a.k.a. Baby Idris Elba. And we have my nephew, AJ Wilkerson, who will be at the Orlando Improv June 27th. Please go get your tickets. So we were talking about you being on stage with Bert. You want to go ahead and finish the story?
Yeah. So that's we're in the arena in Grand Rapids, Van Andel, the hockey arena. 12,000 people that were near the end of the show. I'm backstage with Dave Williamson, and I'm just like soaking everything in. And then Dave leans over and he's like, "Hey, Bert's wrapping up. Like, be ready at the side of the stage." And I was like, "For what?" And he's like, "Oh, he's probably gonna call us back out Like he kind of does that on like in these big arenas. And this was only my second night with them. The night before had been a theater, so I did not know what to expect. And then like Bert had everybody light their phones up, and then he said, "The comic we had tonight, AJ Wilkerson, AJ," and I was like, "That's that." And like literally, I was just like kind of slack jawed, and like two of like the tour manager people had to like start steering me toward the steps and like kind of pushing me that direction a little bit. Like, because that's not something you expect. You don't expect to get like an encore ovation because the headliner was like, "Hey, everybody tonight did so great. Like, they deserve another one of these."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So that, and then like, so that was surreal. But then it was like after the show, like we went back off stage, back into the green room. And Bert's got maybe like a 5-minute like little break intermission to like towel down, get some sweat off of him, get a drink before like some of the groups start coming back for like the private like meetings and stuff with him. And we go back into the green room. He sits down on the couch. He's talking about some stuff. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, by the way, AJ," and like everybody from the tour, like on the bus, like his manager, assistant, social media people, Dave, they're all sitting back there. And he took like that 1 5-minute break he had before he had to like start talking to fans and other people again. He just took that time to tell me how good of a job I had done. And he was like, "We actually talked about it while you were on stage, and like we haven't heard like openers get pops like that in an arena in a really long time." And so I was like, damn, he's taking like the one break he's got like over the next several hours to tell me that, "Oh, I was paying attention to you and I wanted to compliment you on this thing." And so that's like stuff like that like matters to us. You know what I mean?
It
Like
really
as we're
does.
coming up.
It really does. When you get off stage, whether it's an arena or a small club, if it's a headliner that you're new with or new working with, or even a headliner you've been on the road with for a minute, and they was like, "Man, boy, hey, I got to follow that." You know what I mean? Like for a comedian, like, you know, that feels good. It makes me think of, I'm about to show my age, how old I am. When I was young, there was a rapper named MC Hammer. And MC Hammer took this group on the road with him. I don't know if you guys heard of them, called Boys to Men. And and it start, you know, when you're the opening act, usually everybody's still being seated. You know, they're still sitting, they're talking, they're figuring out drinks, popcorn, whatever was going on. And this the 90s now. This is before social media. So word was traveling about these 4 guys from Philly named Boys to Men opening from MC Hammer, who's killing it. So people started getting to the shows early and earlier and earlier just to make sure they saw Boys to Men. And then eventually Hammer was like, "Hey man, y'all gotta go." y'all, I mean, not in a bad way, in a way like, "Hey man, it's time for y'all to go out here and do your own tours." So yeah, man, I that's dope that happened for you. How was it for 12K? Because I'll tell you my story. I did it twice. The first time I did it was 10,000 people, and I was at the Oddball Festival in Tampa. And you know, that's an outdoor show.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're outdoors, you don't know if you're killing or not. You know what I mean? Because that laughter is going up to Jesus. That is going in the heavens. But when I walked off stage and I'm walking through those sea of people, they were like, "Oh my God, you were great. You are fantastic." And then my second time was COVID. Preacher was the first person back at the Dr. Phillips. And it was an outdoor show. And I'd say it was 10 to 12,000 people out there. Same thing. It's outside. You can't tell if you're getting the laughs or you're not getting the laughs. But when I walked off stage, man, everybody's like, "Man, you, bruh, why haven't we heard of you?" I'm like, "I live right here in this city. Like, I don't know why you haven't heard of me." So for you, how was the 12K for you?
The 12K was great. So that was the second night on the tour. The first night we were at the Rosemont Theater in Chicago.
Oh yeah,
which is 2,200.
Mm-hmm.
So the first night in that theater, it felt like it took me my whole set. I was just doing like 15-minute spots, but it felt like it took most of that to figure out like the timing, right? Because like that laughter is different.
Yeah.
Like even the small laughs, because you've got to wait for the people in the back, like for that sound to like carry down. Like you don't wait till the end of the laugh like you do in a club. Like you can kind of wait and then time it and hit right at the end of the laugh. And then in an arena, you kind of have to be prepared to like, okay, I can hear it to here, and now I gotta go. And so it's kind of figuring out that. So like the first night, I didn't even get through like my full set of jokes. Like I had to leave off like part of my closer because I just didn't have the timing right. But then the next night in the arena, like when they were setting everything up and we were there during the day pre-show, I was like, weirdly, it didn't feel bigger than the 2,200 seats. Like just because of like the way the Rosemont Theater was set up is kind of like, I don't know, just the way the arena was set up felt like that. It's like this feels like the same room in a weird way. And then like I came out and like the first 2 or 3 jokes, I got to that point. And I was like, oh, there's the timing. I figured it out. And so that's in the arena that second night. Like it was kind of like that, not out of body experience, because I have like mine is kind of the opposite. Like I used to have that like disassociation. Like when I first started, like I would just be monotone, just holding the mic, telling my jokes real flat, but because my brain was over here, it's like I don't want to be associated with this. But now it's like when I'm like when I'm killing, when I'm having those like really good shows, I'm fully like centered and in it. Like I'm like in the pocket, you know what I mean? And I just had that feeling. Like I just knew like maybe 2-3 minutes in, like you just get that feeling. You're like, I can do no wrong between now and the time that I leave.
Yeah.
And
I
you
can do
just
no
get
wrong
that.
feeling.
Yeah. You just get that feeling. It's like, it doesn't matter what I say. Like I've already won and I can bring it back.
Yeah, man. June 27th,
awesome.
my nephew, AJ Wilkerson, at the Orlando Improv on a Tuesday, which shows you how famous this man has gotten, bro.
No,
we can go back
how
to it,
famous
man.
you have to be to work on a Tuesday?
Bro, hey, if you do it a Tuesday, dog, we done cut the lights on. Cause you know, for us to cut the lights on, it's like when they brought Frankenstein to life, we got that lever. We got the lever that we pull down.
It's like turning on the bat signal.
Yeah, we got to cut the bat signal on, man. We got to go back. You want to go back to the story. So how do you feel about the son? He was at a concert. He was trying to hit the OnlyFans model. Like,
to me, okay, if we're all being real honest, he's the only person nobody should be upset with. Right? Like, be mad at the idiots that have caused this situation. And everyone was mad at him because they're like, oh, he's going to a concert and like he's hitting on girls on the internet and like he doesn't care about like this man at all. And it's like, yeah, it's his stepdad, dog. He doesn't call him dad. He called him John or whatever the fuck his name is. Whatever his name is, dude. He just walk in the room like, I'm gonna need some lunch money, Brad.
But what is it about like the coverage of this story where like they want to tell you more facts about the Titanic? Like I think everyone in the world knows the entire story of how the ship went down, but like every time I'm watching on CNN, C-SPAN, Fox News, like they give you more history about the Titanic. I'm like, it's not about the Titanic, it's about the people that are stuck in the sardine can somewhere at the bottom of the Atlantic right now.
Well, I think it's because the movie did so well.
Yeah.
Right. Like every news outlet is like, we have to mention the Titanic, right? Like that movie made billions of dollars. So in their minds, they're like, yeah, the Titanic sells. They just keep forgetting the only reason people watched that movie was because Leo had sex with Kate Winslet in a car on a boat.
Yeah. Because if it was U571, I don't think we would have talked about it that much because they don't know the movie. Look, y'all didn't even laugh because y'all don't know the movie.
No,
so I know the movie. Yeah,
I know the movie. It just wasn't a funny movie.
Yeah. You notice that? There's been not a single media reference to Das Boot.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Any other thing?
You know, what about the Hunt to Red October? What about the Hunt for Red October?
Yeah, nobody's looking for that sub. Yeah.
Yo, could you imagine if they had named that sub Red October? That'd have been great, actually.
See, that was a funny sub joke. I'm kidding.
Whatever. Mine was funnier. June 27th, AJ Wilkerson will be at the Orlando Improv, man. Make sure you go check my dude out. AJ, we got a couple minutes left, man. Before we go, man, tell everybody where they can follow you at, and if you got what else you got going on this week.
This week, this is my Florida week. This is like homecoming week. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like Orlando Tuesday night, I'm at the Improv. Wednesday and Thursday night this week, the 28th and 29th, I am at Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples. And then the 30th, and the 1st, Friday and Saturday, I'm in St. Petersburg, at Coastal Creative. Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith both are executive producing my first stand-up comedy special.
Good.
Wow.
Filming it in St. Pete at Coastal Creative.
Congratulations, man.
That's awesome.
You know what platform
Yeah.
it's gonna be on, or you can't say yet?
We don't know yet. So we basically we raised all the money ourselves. Like I got tired of waiting for people to like cut a check for me. So I just put it out there that this was something I wanted to do, and we raised $40,000 to do it ourselves. So we've got a director, we've got Jay and Kevin, and so the goal is to film it, get like all the version that we want to put out cut, and then try and shop that to like the big three, like Netflix, Amazon, HBO.
Cool. Well, congratulations on that, man, and break both legs. June 27th, AJ Wilkerson, the Orlando Improv. Patricia, what you got going on this week?
So yeah, Goyokan at Tuesday in Lake Mary, beginning at 6 o'clock for Taco Tuesday trivia. Shout out to all the comics from this past Monday: Chris Alexander, Marvin Izzy, Uncle Tony, C. Dillard, Kevin Fox, Lewis, Lexi, Sean, and MJ, who came out to our open comedy mic at Graffiti Junction, Thornton Park, every Thursday beginning at 9 o'clock.
Hey, shout out Chris Alexander. I love that dude. He's so funny.
That's my guy, man. You see that, AJ? Now they giving shout outs to open micers on the radio now.
Hey.
Yeah. You gotta give them shout outs. That's their participation trophy. You gotta make sure you participate. This week I'm at Hagen O'Reilly's this Saturday, July 1st, with Ali Flores, myself. It was supposed to be Dwayne Williams, but Dwayne gonna be somewhere else. That's in Winter Garden. And this is my last week. Guys, as y'all know, Ken Miller back in the office, working a full-time job. So I'm going to enjoy this week. I'm getting drunk. Matter of fact, this is the Monday show. So right now, I am recovering from a colonoscopy. So just know on Tuesday when I'm at your show, I will be drinking because I haven't been able to drink at all the week before. So just know Tuesday we will be getting drunk. So this Saturday I do have a show, man. So make sure you check it out. So Tuesday, June 27th, I'm gonna stop by, do a guest spot for my nephew AJ. AJ, thank you so much for kicking it with Real Ass, man. We appreciate it. You are number 2 now with the most cuss words on this show. So you did not get the record. The record is 12. But we got to get up out of here.
So I need a couple more.
All right. You got to get a couple more. We got to get up out of here. AJ was in the house with her. I'm Ken Miller. That's Patricio. Patricio, tell them what to do.
Take your ass to bed.
Good night.